It's not all coercion though. Some countries are willfully falling into China's trap, like the Maldives. Yesterday we told you about President Mohammad Muizzu's choice. Does he repair ties with India or does he ally with China? Well, we spoke too soon because Muizzu has made his choice. He has signed a defense agreement with China. A defense deal with China. What does it say? In typical Chinese style, it's all secret. We know just two things about this deal. One, it allows China to provide military assistance to the Maldives, and two, it's free of cost. Now, assistance is a broad term. Does it mean giving weapons or military aid? Does it mean sending surveillance technology? Does it mean deploying Chinese officials, or does it mean all of the above? Unless you specify, people will assume the worst. But then again, maybe that's Muizzu's plan. Look at the chronology of events. First, he asked Indian sailors to leave the Maldives. Then he hosted a Chinese spy vessel. Then he sent civilians to replace, India sent civilians to replace its soldiers. And now, a defense deal with China. So the message is quite clear. Muizzu sees his future in the Chinese camp. He wants to keep pulling away from India. And his latest statement confirms that. Listen to this. There will be no Indian troops in the country come May 10th, not in uniform and not in civilian clothing. The Indian military will not be residing in this country in any form of clothing. New Delhi has already agreed to that. The soldiers are on their way out. But Muizzu wants to make a spectacle out of it. The question is, how will this affect India's security? And how can New Delhi respond? Some basics first. China has been eyeing the Indian Ocean for a long time, through investments, through debt traps, and through alliances. They've been at it. It's been a multi-decade project. And I'll show you the result on this map. These are all the Chinese bases or ports in the Indian Ocean. First is Djibouti in the Horn of Africa. It has a PLA military base. Then you have Gwadar in Pakistan, built and operated by China. Down south, you have Hambantota in Sri Lanka. China has a 99-year lease on it. Finally, we come to Myanmar. China is building a port in the city of Kyayukpyu. Now, these are the major projects. If you add investments and financing, it's a lot more. Some 21 Chinese ports in the Indian Ocean. Experts call this China's string of pearls. Now the question is, will the Maldives become the latest pearl? Will it host a Chinese port or base? Honestly, we can't rule it out, which is why India is making its own moves. We told you about one such move last week. India and Mauritius inaugurated an airstrip and jetty on Agalega. It's a northern island of Mauritius. India invested some $192 million there. Now don't confuse it for a military base, because India is not China. But it does give New Delhi some strategic advantage, like information exchange or surveillance missions or joint patrols. And India isn't done yet. On Wednesday, the Indian Navy is commissioning a new base. It's called the INS Jatayu. It's located on Lakshadweep's Minicoy Islands. Another project is on Androt. It's an eastern island of Lakshadweep. The plan is to build a new jetty there, one that can host bigger ships. So what's the end game here? What is India trying to do with these bases and airstrips? Listen to what the Navy is saying. With the commissioning of the INS Jatayu, the Indian Navy will strengthen its foothold in the Lakshadweep Islands and extend operational surveillance, reach, and sustenance. Let me underline two words here: surveillance and reach. That's what Lakshadweep can offer India. It is located around 400 kilometers from the mainland, sort of like a permanent aircraft carrier, a launch pad to track and deter enemies. It will be crucial in the coming years and decades. China is building a massive fleet of warships. It also has a willing partner in President Muizzu. If you combine the two, it means trouble for India. We may be looking at the Indian Ocean status, a new status quo in the Indian Ocean, one where India and the Maldives are in opposing camps.